Part two. Part two. Technical difficulties. View from the sidelines. The collapse of the Super League. Joined by West Ham Online. How are you doing, mate?
I was doing well till I see the information I've just seen about 1 minute ago.
What's that, mate?
The Premier League teams left the Super League because UEFA bribed them with money.
That's disgusting, isn't it? Does that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? What have you made over the last 24 hours?
It's been up and down. There's been a lot of good things, mostly good things. The fact that the protest was brilliant, worked to perfection, in my opinion. We need to see a lot of that at West Ham when GSB get, back where they are. But on the topic of this, I think the protest was brilliant. I thought Gary Neville's and Jamie Carragher's rant was brilliant. I thought the social media interaction was brilliant. And I think that it really has affected them. I thought that it was the main reason why the clubs decided to leave the Super League. But after reading what I've just read, I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Obviously, I've been speaking to people on Twitter and social media and things, and a lot of people have turned around and been really worried about their situation of what's going on. And yeah, it's been a sad day, but also it's everyone's clubbed together. What have you made of everyone getting together, mate?
It's something we need to see a lot more in football at the moment. It's just rivalry players, whether that be players that we're debating all the time, clubs, and there needs to be a bit of that, but I think there should just be a lot more appreciation, which we've seen today, and hopefully that starts to happen. But as for UEFA, FIFA, and Florentino Perez and all them clowns, I've just had enough of them.
When let me ask you this: where did the Premier League go with these six now, in your opinion?
They're not going to do anything. They're just going to say, "Oh, don't do it again," or something ridiculous like that. And in 15 years, maybe not even that, we'll see something similar to this happen again. And what should happen is they should get a minimum 10 points deduction each and a huge fine. But what will actually happen is they'll be told, you upset us a little bit, don't do it again next time, that sort of sit on the naughty step sort of thing. So it's pathetic.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is. It really is. Like, it's a tough one to sort of accept, in my opinion, because they've betrayed everyone by walking away, and now they've come back with their tail between their legs. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, who was the first one? Chelsea, was it? Chelsea and Man City was the first two to sort of pull out, and then Liverpool, and then the rest of them decided to say they've had enough. I just don't get where it all goes from here now, though, in regards of, in regards of the Premier League. Like the last 24 hours, the two Premier League games have been lackluster at best. Do you know what I mean? Because of what's been going on. What did you make of it yesterday at Leeds?
Well, it's quite funny actually, because in a way I'm quite happy it was them two games that were the ones that affected the players, because it's the two teams challenging us. And I thought Liverpool looked well off it at Leeds.
Yeah, I agree. Mate. I think they looked. They didn't look at all good, in my opinion, and they should have been out of sight, but they weren't out of sight. But now all these six clubs have done this. What can you see happening in regards to the Champions League, in your opinion?
Well, I think the Champions League, there will be quite a few changes, whether that be to how teams get into it or things like that. But what we do know is next year we're going to have a much lower budget than these six teams. Because the rumour is that they've each just been handed over 300 million each just to leave that league. And let's be honest, it's probably close to $1 billion. So their budget's going to be ridiculous, and we're going to be stuck on our shoestring 50 million.
That's terrible. When you look at it like that, it's bribery in its highest form, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, to go and do something like that, it's corruption. But it's corruption beating corruption. What do you think should happen to each owner of these clubs, from Daniel Levy to Roman Abramovich? Because let's be honest, every owner in the top six has shat on the face of British football, English football, and like obviously Ed Woodward has resigned from Manchester United now, so they're probably over the moon with that because they couldn't stand him anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
where do they go now? These
Well,
owners.
if the rumour is true that the main three were Man United, Arsenal, and Liverpool pushing for it, and the other three just sort of thought, well, we don't want to be cut adrift here, then they still deserve punishments, and but I won't be pushing for them owners out. I actually think Abramovich is a good owner overall. What's happened in the last 2 days maybe proved that he isn't. But he's the thing is, you can't be cut adrift from the rest of the top six. So maybe that is what he's thinking. But as for the Americans at Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man United, they're all terrible. They're clueless. They're corrupt. They only care about the money. Let's be honest. Football is not a big sport in America. If it was about passion, they'd probably be in the baseball leagues. And it proves when the Man United owner didn't even know the offside rule 3 years ago. So they need to be gone immediately. They need to be absolutely gone. I think they're worse than GSP, James, if I'm honest.
Oh yeah, like let's be honest here. What they've done is they've spat in the face of their own. Don't get me wrong. I think if GSB would have done it to us, we would have been doing what Chelsea was doing tonight and rioting outside the ground. And I think we would have been. There wouldn't have been a couple of hundred or so. There would have been thousands there.
Yeah.
Especially if people knew that they was taking West Ham away from them. So, in regard to that, I think something's got to be done legally now. Like the government have got to bring in a rule where the fans can own 51% of their own club, like the old days, and not have it in a way that, how can I put it? Not have it in a way that it's run by people who have got no incentive other than to earn money. What's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I completely agree. I love that rule. And it works a treat at Bayern Munich. They still get to spend big money. Their club still ran really well. And you look at Dortmund, it's probably the best run club in the world. The way they develop their youth players and things like that. So I think it'd be brilliant. That's exactly what I want. It would put a sort of it wouldn't put an end to the gap between teams like Man City and West Ham, but it would certainly help influence it. And the other thing I have to say is back to the owner thing. I always had the debate of whether GSB or Mike Ashley is the worst owner in the league. They've been leapfrogged hugely by Stan Kroenke. That man is a corrupt, lying joke, and I just can't believe the levels we've reached. We've gone from GSB lying to us about the ground, which was bad enough. Stan Kroenke's lied about the whole club, literally the whole club. The future of the club has been changed, in my eyes.
Yeah, but I don't. In my opinion on that, I don't really see Arsenal coming out. Anyway, let's read this out before I get to my point. Evening, chaps. I've just come on, but I'm half asleep. Great regarding the Super League. Yes, Scott. I think Scott's crashed out. But what you're saying about the Arsenal and all that, but they've known their owners have been bad for years, and they've known that they've only got one incentive. But I've never seen them protesting every week about getting their owners out. It's like, you know what I mean? When everything's going well, like, even though West Ham are doing really well, there is people protesting outside every home game, every away game. People are travelling up to, say, Leeds and Manchester and plonking their flags outside the ground saying that they want GSB out when they're not even going into the ground. That's proper commitment, in my opinion, and I just don't see it in Arsenal. I just don't. I just see a team that seem to go back on their history because they used to be a good club 15 years ago. Do you know what I mean? What do you
Yeah.
think, mate?
Oh yeah, I don't. I think that's probably the reason why they wasn't considered as bad owners amongst huge proportions of the league. It was
Mm,
GSB and Mike Ashley, because you see us and Newcastle fans were more than vocal about it. I think because
mm,
Arsenal and Man United have had so much success, they've just been like, oh, sort of how we've been this season a little bit, where we've sort of put GSB on the back burner a tiny, tiny bit.
yeah,
That's been them. They've still said, oh, don't get me wrong, they still said the owners are terrible, but they haven't been protesting these United and Arsenal fans, and now they are, and now they should be. And Liverpool
yeah,
have also realised that the Henrys, who I thought were not that bad for American owners, I was wrong.
mm, yeah.
They're terrible. They're terrible as well. They're corrupt, and they're just as bad as the rest of them.
Who shocked you out of the six? Who would you say has gone, which where you can go? You know what? I never saw that one coming with them over money.
I wouldn't say any of them shocked me, because nothing shocks me with these big six. But the owner I thought had a bit more dignity, and that was Sheikh Mansour from Man City.
Yeah, I
The
agree, mate.
guy has the guy has enough money. He doesn't need to be
Mm,
going in this Super League for money. Let's get it straight. I mean, even the
mm,
billion or whatever he's just got through UEFA, which we'll come to again in a little bit because I'm disgusted by that. Um,
mm,
Man City have that in abundance, so I don't get why he signed up. And the fact that they pulled out first perhaps suggests that maybe it was what I said, and they just saw the rest of the big six and they were like, right, we can't stay in a league with Leeds, West Ham, and Everton as our competition. Off we go.
mm. Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. I 100% agree with you on this one. Um, yeah, Man City one. I would have thought he would have, but then he's in a bit of a. If Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United are leading the race, and Man City are arguably one of the biggest clubs in the country in regards of pulling power and financially, if they've been sort of if they've been led along, then you can sort of understand it. But it's a tricky one in my opinion. But I do agree with you. The Man City owners, for how much money that they have got, they've all got money. Like every one of them has, but for Man City to go and do that, I thought was wrong. And I see things on social media like with Liam Gallagher coming out and saying he's not happy about it and all. Like you needed public figures. Do you know what I mean? You need public figures to start coming out
Yeah,
and speaking out. And I think the outcry of every footballer, every pundit, every fan, everyone getting together and saying, you know what, this is not acceptable. And seeing the fans of Chelsea outside the bridge earlier on, like people holding their banners up saying fan, not customer. It's true. Like people are treated like we are treated like customers, and we're not treated like supporters. So it's a bit of an issue at the minute, isn't it?
yeah. The thing I don't get, which annoyed me, was when because Chelsea was supposedly to be the first club to pull out the Super League, I saw Chelsea fans saying, "Oh, that's our owner, best owner in the world, best club in the world,
Mm,
great from us." Hang on, you joined it in the first place. Yeah, great, you've pulled out, but Where's the criticism for joining? Is what I'm
yeah.
wondering. Because don't get, if that was us with GSB, we would be saying, "Well, you joined it in the first place. We're not giving you any praise, and rightly so."
Mm. What if it is through bribery and it is through them being bribed by UEFA, right? Um, what do you think made them pull out? Do you think it's the outcry of the people? Do you think it's the fans? Like, do you think that they thought they didn't realise that what they was getting into, like things like that. Do you know what I mean? I say
Disconnected.
that again, yeah, because you're disconnected, mate. But what do you think the reason was for them to pull out? Was it? Do you think it was the fans in the end, and the pundits and the social media?
I think it had a effect, but I think they're going to
Mm,
definitely play on that effect. Like Arsenal having their statement saying it was the fans. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Stan
mm,
Kroenke. The reason Stan Kroenke's pulled out, that man, I think Arsenal would be in it now if UEFA didn't bribe them. Honestly, I
mm.
do. I think it's
Yeah,
shocking. I think it's absolutely shocking that we've come to UEFA having to bribe them for a tournament that was behind their back. And now I'm wondering if this was all a plan for all of them together. I've got a bit of a conspiracy theory for you. They had
go on,
the
mate.
Super League come out 2 days ago. Yeah,
Mm,
day after that, that new Champions League plan comes in place, which looked terrible. Don't get it, it looked pants.
yeah.
What I think's gone on is I think the Super League and UEFA have worked together. Said right, you make this fake Super League for a couple of days. We'll get the big clubs involved, get some publicity on it. And it will hide. It will hide our new Champions League schedule. You know, it will hide it. Daniel Levy. By the way, this will be your opportunity to sack Mourinho. I know you're too scared to do it normally. You can do it now, mate. This is your
Mm,
opportunity. So yeah, we'll hide it. We'll do all that, and then what we'll do. I know a few of you have been, yeah, Stan. You talk, yeah, Stan, I get you. A few of you have been struggling financially, did you say? Yeah, what we'll do is
mm.
we'll fake that you're joining the Super League and we'll give you an abundance of money, all of us together. And then you can be back above West Ham and Leicester because we don't want to see them above you. I think that's what's happened.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Do you know what? You're not far off because I thought that too many coincidences happening all at once. Like the rise of the new Champions League format, and this comes out. Um, where do we go in the Premier League now, though? That's the problem. That's the issue now. Is like this is going to tarnish. Like, uh, does the government have to bring in a sort of legislation to say that a club has to have 51% owned by its fans? So this can't happen
Yeah,
again.
yeah, it
Do
should
you know what I
do.
mean?
It should do. But they can't really do it because when it started in the Bundesliga, the clubs were not owned by because the Bundesliga just started, they weren't fully owned by owners, and I don't think the owners now would agree to all that. Especially Ed Woodward and all them clowns. Oh, he's gone. Sorry, the Glazers and all them
Mm,
clowns. And yeah, we've not touched on that yet. Thank God he's gone. Ed Woodward, he's another one.
mm,
But yeah, I don't think they'd agree to it. But I think if the government said something, maybe it would be a plausible option.
mm. I think I don't know though. West Ham Online, like they might have to do something like this. Like they might
Mm,
have to be like their hand might have to be forced in this situation because at the end of the day, like it could be anyone who could go and say, "All right, I'm going to go and play in a different league and a different tournament," and just up sticks and go. Do you know what I mean? And like I think it proves how bad some of the Premier League owners are, in my opinion. When you see the Premier League owners now, you see some of them are just like money hungry. Obviously, if we go through all the six, you've got Manchester United, where the Glazers have been there for donkey's years, and Manchester United are the biggest club in world football, in my opinion. They've got the biggest poll. Um, they're up there with Real Madrid and people like that and I just think that they're going to have to bring something in where the fans, like the supporters, trust or something where it's inside fans basically. If anything ever went wrong, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
What do you think, mate?
yeah, I really do. I look at the owners of teams in the Premier League right now. and I think there's
Mm,
maximum probably 6 good ones. Um,
mm,
yeah, the top 6 owners are shocking. You just touched on it. The owners of United, Sir Alex Ferguson's success covered them up for a good few years.
mm,
Now that they're gone, they've been exposed as the fools they are, and this was the tipping point of the iceberg. Um,
yeah.
yeah, all of them, even if it was a ploy by UEFA, it's a stupid one because they may have got a lot of money and they may think that doing good in the transfer market will deflect the fans' hate towards them. No, it won't. They'll know you got
Mm.
that money from UEFA. They'll know that what you've just done is unacceptable. Um, and yeah, it's just poor ownership.
What did you think of the Premier League today? I thought it was pretty weak myself, in my opinion. I thought they come out and for 6 teams that are trying to ruin the game to come out and say what they said. I didn't. What did you think of what they come out with, mate?
I'm not surprised at all.
Mm,
Um, it was embarrassing, what they came out
mm,
with. The fact that they've not issued any punishment, such as a points deduction. They've probably been
yeah,
bribed with the money.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because if you've seen this exact situation in the Championship, like Sheffield Wednesday have had points deducted this year. You had last year, you had a team, you had Bury who went extinct. In all these other leagues, it's fine. So why? Because these are big clubs. Are they just getting away with murder, basically? Um, Probably because they paid them off. I don't
mm,
get why people can't deal with big clubs doing badly. Um,
mm.
the reason they became big clubs in the first place was because of success. So why can't there be new big clubs and new success? It's just people trying to be ancient all the time.
Mm. I agree. I think you've only got to look at Leicester. Like,
Yeah,
what Leicester, the way Leicester are run from top to bottom is a professional working club, in my opinion. Um, I just think that, in a way, it's some of these people are just buying success. Like you look at Leicester, what they're doing. Who would you say is like you said previous that there's a few good owners in the Premier League? Who would you say are the good owners in the Premier League, in your
Leicester,
opinion?
I'd say, are the main ones who I think are brilliant with the training ground they built. We've
Mm,
spoke about before why the training ground at the youth academy could put people off and why it's an example of bad ownership. Leicester have a brilliant one, and no surprise, their youth academy has improved massively. So, then for me,
mm,
um, then you're struggling. Then you really are struggling. But Wolves owners have done a good job, a really, really good job. Um,
mm,
and I know Wolves fans are really proud with the ownership they've got and the upturn of form. I'd say you've got, despite what's happened, you've got to include Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour, just because of what they've done to their clubs, and I really do think they've sort of seen what's happened with all the other clubs. And let's be fair, if you're in that situation and all the big clubs have left to a Super League, you can't.
mm,
You it is hard. So I'd include them too. That's 4 at the moment for me. Um, Burnley's owners, despite not spending a lot, I know Burnley respect the owners a lot and are big fans of the owners because of the way the whole club is run and the way they keep Sean
mm,
Dyche, the infrastructure of the youth and things like that. So you could make a case for Burnley's owners, and then
mm.
once again, I think that's about it.
Yeah. I'll chuck a few teams at you. Everton. What do you think
Yeah,
of Everton's
yeah, they're
owners?
good. Yeah,
Do you know
Everton's
what I mean?
owners are good. But the only problem with them is they spend
Mm,
their money stupidly, like really, really
mm,
stupidly. But overall, yeah, they've done a good job. I completely forgot them, but yeah, you
mm.
can't miss Everton.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this, right? And we're going we have a little chat about tonight's game, Chelsea and Brighton, and what it does for us before we wrap it up. Where does the Premier League go now, in your opinion? Where does this leave the Premier League because in one way, there's 6 teams there that are thieving, robbing bastards, basically, and greedy, like trying to rob anything they can to sort of for their own financial gain. Where does this leave our Premier League for the fans?
For the fans, it's going to be crap next season. It's going to be shocking. I think what we'll see is the top six back on top, because we've mentioned this rubbish, the bribery, and I'm going to read more about it after this, because I don't know if there's any breaking news or anything at the moment. But if it's true, the figures they're getting, it's going to be, they're going to be signing ridiculous players, and we just won't be able to keep up with it. So this year we've really got to take advantage of it. We've got lucky this weekend in the fact that although we lost, Chelsea and Liverpool also dropped points. So yeah, I mean the Chelsea one. If you win versus Chelsea, then you've got a great chance for top four. Really, if we're honest.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to that, mate. Chelsea drew tonight, 0-0 with Brighton. Hello, Alf. How you doing, mate? Hope you're well. I'm starting to get a few comments after half hour West Ham Online. I don't know what's going on. I think no one likes us.
Too
they
late.
drew 0-0.
Everyone's probably dozed off.
Yeah. And they drew 0-0 tonight with Brighton, which is a great result for us. And we're both on 55 points going into Saturday's game. How big is Saturday's game now, mate? Massive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you'd have asked me this 6 hours ago, I would have said I couldn't care less what the result is, because I thought, well, it's not going to make a difference, is it? We're going to get Champions League if all these 6 clubs leave, and the Champions League would be crap if that happens. Let's be honest. But now it's massive. It's back to being massive. I feel a bit sorry for the players because their preparation has been disrupted by this rubbish. Well, absolute crap. And it's a massive game. Hopefully everyone's head's still in the game. Hopefully Lingard and everyone is doing all right still. And
do you
we're
think,
going to be
though, West Ham, do you think this is going to give players from other clubs motivation now? Like, do you know when they play against these so-called big six, do you think they're going to step it up and go, you know what, right, you thought you was going to leave and now we're going to prove to you, like West Ham's got a point to prove on Saturday, innit? In a roundabout way. Can you see what I'm getting at? What do you think,
Yeah,
mate?
I see what you're saying. I think that motivation will last about 2 weeks. And then everyone will be back to relaxation. But I think this is probably the best opportunity you'll get to play Chelsea, because the players will be have a fire in their stomach. I imagine Soufal in particular will be, well up for it. I wouldn't be surprised if he absolutely boots half of their team. So yeah, I think at the moment it's the best time to play Chelsea. But at the same time, I think Chelsea probably they will either be really up for it or really won't be, because, as I said, they won't have the preparation as much. The game's in 3 days now. I don't imagine they've done a lot of intense training because they've probably been too focused on this Super League. So, yeah, and they've also played tonight as well, haven't they? So, yeah, it's all in our favour. But the issue is our squad is thin, so that's one thing that isn't in our favour.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Alfie says, Alf, if you want to come on now, DM me on Twitter and I'll send you the link and you can come on for and have your say, mate. Because I know you said you wanted to come on before and I trust you'll be all right. So, where do we... And now we've got 6 games to go, West Ham Online, from all this happening, right? Which I must admit, you are right what you're saying. It's affected Liverpool and Chelsea, the 2 of our rivals, right at the good time. I hope we just don't flatten the season. Do you know what I mean? Where the season's been so we've all been buzzing for it. Like, I'm looking forward to Saturday's game, but I'm not, if that makes sense, because of what's happened. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not. Well, 24 hours ago, I thought we was losing our game. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I mean,
do you know what I mean?
Absolutely mental. I am. Yeah, I'm not really thinking about the game too much at the moment. I'm still
Mm,
focused on this Super League, and I don't know how up for it I will be for the game, or if I'll be that committed
mm,
towards it because of the situation. Um, I was planning on going outside the London Stadium and doing some protests and things like that. I don't know what I'm
yeah.
going to do about that anymore, whether I'm just going to turn up and see what happens and things like that. But I don't know what you're going to
Mm.
do as well. But it should be
Yeah, I
intriguing.
was
I'll
prepared to
say.
go down there, mate. No
Yeah.
disrespect, but I was if this would have been carrying on and they hadn't pulled out, I was going to be there at on Saturday, 100%, because I think it was an important um, well, it's our game, isn't it, mate? It's someone put it on a banner and said this game's for the fans and not you can't take our game away, sort of thing. And I make him 100% right.
You're
You
still
can't.
going to go, or you not see any point?
Um, I don't see any point now, like because basically they've all pulled out, and within, like you just said to me, within a few days, yeah, this would be like it'll be by in 2 weeks' time, it'll be all forgotten about, and we'll be thinking about coming towards the end of the season. The difference is
Hmm.
with it now is I want to see what happens in the next, like for their punishment, because they must get punished at some thing if right, and I actually don't want it to be a fine. I want it to be something where like even if none of them six play in the FA Cup next year or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Let's bring
Yeah.
this lad in. Let's bring this lad in West Ham 19. I hope it all goes well. Alf, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you.
Right, mate. Good, good.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the European Super League coming to an
Well,
end?
thankfully, it's come to an end. It was a shambles the past 24 hours, as you said.
Mm,
It's been
yeah.
a shambles since it was announced. Like it's been on the table for what, like 6 or 7 months, hasn't it?
Mm,
Because I think it was Klopp talking about it in October or Wenger in October, and neither of
mm,
them liked it back then.
yeah. Yeah. What do you how do you feel now in regards of football? Like I've been speaking to West Ham online, and basically football's took a back burner in the last sort of 24, 48 hours, in my opinion, because at one stage I thought we was losing our beautiful game to money. How do
Oh yeah,
you
no,
how do you
yeah, no.
feel now? Now they've left.
Now that it's like completely, or not completely gone, but like the English clubs are all like against it. It's so much
Mm,
like better because of it. Like the game tonight, the Brighton Chelsea one, is obviously massive for our season after we lost to Newcastle and Leeds drew to
mm,
Liverpool. And I don't think
yeah,
like a lot of fans realise that because of all the like news about the Super League.
yeah, and it's an hard one to. I must admit, one thing I will say, it's hard to get motivated at the minute in
Yeah.
in like for the game, so to speak. What do you? Well, let's talk about Chelsea and Brighton. They drew tonight, 0-0. It's a great point for us,
Mm.
considering that they've got a point, and obviously Saturday's game is massive. Um, well, first things first. How motivated are our lads going to be? Like they're going to play against the Chelsea Blues, so or the Blues of London. Do you know what I mean? How motivated are our lads going to be, mate?
I don't know. If I was in the changing rooms, I think like personally it would be like more motivation after seeing like all the fans like protesting outside the stadium, and then
Mm,
obviously club officials having to get involved because I'm assuming we've all seen the video of Pet to check outside the stadium having a go at the fans.
mm. What was
Um,
he saying there? 'Cause I see that, but I had the sound down. What was he saying to the fans?
I think it was just get out the way, and I'm not exactly sure. I watched like a couple of seconds of it, but I think it was like
Mm,
get out the way, and then like they're talking about it, and it'll be sorted out. I think that's what it
mm.
was along the lines of.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
It's
I think they'll be
go on, mate.
motivated because
Mm,
after seeing like the teams around us drop points this weekend as well, Like obviously Leicester are still to play because they have the FA Cup game. So they can still, I think, with 4 points clear if they win their next one. But I'd take a draw or a win against Chelsea, just as long as we don't lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think this game is massive. Now they've drew, because I was, no disrespect West Ham online, but I was fearing the worst tonight. I was thinking Chelsea was going to hit Brighton for about 3 or 4, and to get a 0-0 draw, it's sort of everyone's in it now, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? And we're all in it together now. If we win on Saturday, West Ham online, right, and obviously I'm going to do a show towards the end of the week, a few from the sidelines, and right, we're going to get a preview going of that game. If we win that game, would you say that we're back in the hunt for Champions League, or you just can't say it at the minute because we'd only be 3 points behind?
We will definitely be back in the hunt. Even if we win, the Newcastle game will probably be too fresh in my mind to predict us to get Champions League. And as I said, I'm not really that motivated for it at the moment. But hopefully I will be towards the end of the week. And if we win, let's be honest, we put ourselves in a great position. Really, it should be that we should get it and Chelsea should deduct points. But we spoke about how corrupt UEFA and all that are in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Chelsea could probably run over 3 people as a club, and they'd say it's all fine. In fact, you want another FA Cup to your name. So, yeah, if we win, we're back in the hunt, certainly.
Yeah. I've got to ask you this before we wrap it up, and I'll come to Alfie first. What did you make of Jose Mourinho sacking and Ryan Mason as their interim manager?
What, the Jose Mourinho refusing to take the players to training? Like that's rumoured to be, isn't it? I mean, after I had respect for him as a manager before he came out and said what he did about West Ham and how it's just all one big fluke how we've ended up in the top 4 and it's not going to be sustainable after they went from first to 10th in a matter of a couple of weeks. But after seeing the rumours of the reason he was sacked, as he refused to take the players to training because of the rumours of the Super League, obviously gained more respect for him. But as the interim manager, I'm not too sure about it.
West Ham Online, what do you think on that, mate? Funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is strange that Ryan Mason was teammates of most of the players only a few years ago, and I've heard he wasn't exactly one of the leaders in the dressing room. So how he's going to lead the team into a cup final is beyond me. Maybe he just won't turn up. It is a strange one from Spurs to let him take the cup final, but what would be even funnier is if they won it and they appointed him as the manager, because that would sum up Daniel Levy. So yeah, it's weird, a weird decision. I think what Levy thought is he's going to have all the Super League money, and he'll be able to pay off Mourinho in that way. Unfortunately for him, that didn't end up happening. But don't worry, Daniel. Don't worry. UEFA are here to save today. They'll give you money.
Yeah, Scott puts it in the comments here. He said, "I'm hearing UEFA paid the 6 English clubs to come back. What am I hearing?" And you said it, West Ham Online. If that is true, and by the sounds of it is true, it's just in the end they've got what they wanted, but they've got it in another way. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a shame. Alf, before I let you go, mate, any final thoughts on the European Super League and the collapse of it?
Well, as I said, it's just glad it's on the brink of being over, and for a matter of 2 days, Florentino Perez, is it? Was probably the most hated man on the planet. And I mean, it can obviously still change, because I mean, we all saw what like the state of what he was saying as well, that he may not have a brain. Like saying like 16 to 24-year-olds don't watch football, or like games of football are too long. I don't get how someone can come out and say that with like all of his chest. Like, I'm pretty sure 16 to 24-year-olds are probably one of the most like populated viewing like sections of football.
Yeah. Basically, for me, he's just trying to blag it to his own. He's trying to get it to his own advantage, and because Real Madrid are in so much debt, now they're going to be even in more debt when he has to pay more money out instead of recruiting money. But Alf, it's been good to have you on, mate. I'll let you go. I'm going to start wrapping it up.
That's it for me, really.
All right, mate. Right. Catch you later on, son. And West Ham Online. Final thing from you, mate. What do you want to say regarding the European Super League collapse?
Yeah, I have a bit of an unpopular opinion here. I think Perez's whole interview was a disgrace, and he has been a disgrace. But regarding the 16 to 24-year-olds, I think it depends how he meant the quote. If he meant that they don't watch football at all, then he's stupid and he's blagging it, because that's probably, in terms of talking about football, I think that's the central age. But I do think that 16 to 24-year-olds spend the majority of the time when watching the game on their phone rather than actually watching the game, compared to what it was a few years ago. So I do actually sort of get what you're saying there, but do I think that a Super League would change that? Absolutely no chance. It was just something he tried to say in order to praise the Super League. So yeah, in the end, he was speaking rubbish.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, mate. 16, 24-year-olds. If you love the game and you're into the game, you'll play the game, innit? Whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't. How many games have we seen in the Premier League where you sit there and you think, you know what, this ain't going to be a good game? It has been. Like West Ham this year, for instance. I'll use us as an example. We haven't always been an entertaining team. Like we've been entertaining, like, to concede goals, but we've never been an entertaining team to sort of go from one side of the pitch to the other and be really good. So, like, and I honestly believe, before I wrap it up, I honestly believe the top six fear what's coming from the others, like your Leicesters, your Evertons, your West Hams, teams like that, Aston Villa, for instance, because let's be honest, Arsenal, Tottenham, they're on our level. Like, do you know what I mean? And they might say they was a powerhouse years ago, but they're not no more. Do you know what I mean? Tottenham have never been a powerhouse. Do you know what I mean? Powerhouse and like empty, poxy trophy cabinets. You know what I mean? And how they got in there, I don't know. But all I can say is that it's been an emotional few days, right? Do you know what I mean? I was worried. I was fearful that we was going to lose our beautiful game and we would never be able to beat Tottenham again, ever. So yeah, it's been a bad day, well, a bad 24 hours, but there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel now. And if it is down to UEFA literally bribing these people to stay, in the end, they've got what they want, innit? West Ham Online. They've got the money that they wanted from this, and this sort of what you said, like coming out with the Champions League. It's very ironic that everything's come out at once. I mean, you don't bring something out, then like you don't fear that you're going to lose something, and then you bring out something new a couple of days later. Do you know what I mean? And it's very suspect in my opinion. But well, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll come to the 45th minute now, and I want to thank West Ham Online for coming on. I will be getting him on soon. He will be going through the Chelsea game with me on Thursday, I believe. It'll be about 9 o'clock. So if he's about then, he can come on. I'm going to try and get a Liverpool fan on. I want to get his opinion on 1 minute his club was in the Premier League, and then 1 minute his club could have been gone. So that'd be interesting. What else have I got coming out this week? I've got match day morning, Saturday morning, but I'm not sure I've got on it yet. But I'll sort something out. There is no more Jazz, I'm afraid, people. Jazz has decided that he can't commit to it any longer. So he's got work commitments and other things that he's doing. So fair play to him, and I will carry the baton until the end of the season and then reassess it then. But yeah, it's been a good one. It was a sad few days, but there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel now, and I just hope that this don't ever happen again. And maybe this 51-49% ownership of your club can come into play, and then we can get our owners out. Like, do you know what I mean? And we can get 51% of the shares. So for me, it might be a short-term pain for long-term gain, in my opinion. So thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you're new. It's helped me out greatly, mate. And I'm trying to get these numbers up. I'm going to try and get to 300. I'm on only 4 more people. So if you know 4 people, you know what I mean, bang on a few quid and I'll reimburse you. But yeah, it all helps out, mate. I'm going to try and think of some new content to come up soon. And yeah, I've been slipping a little bit, but I've got to get this back rolling again. So take care. It's good night from West Ham Online, top man, and it's good night from me. Take care all.